All right, so buckle up, everyone, because today we are taking a deep dive into something pretty wild, the simulation theory.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever, had that feeling that reality is just a little bit, I don't know, off? Like maybe, just maybe, we are all plugged into some incredibly detailed video game. Well, you're definitely not alone.
Yeah.
Some seriously brilliant minds out there, like Elon Musk, Neil deGrasse Tyson, these guys actually entertain this idea.
It's true. And, what I think is really interesting about this is that there is a certain line of logic that kind of leads to the simulation theory.
Right.
And it's not, completely based in science fiction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Computers are evolving at an absolutely insane pace.
I know, it's crazy.
Think about the jump from, like, Pong to the games that we have today.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And if that trajectory continues, if we keep going down that road, well, future simulations, they're going to become indistinguishable from reality.
Well, and that's where things get really, really trippy.
Right.
Because if a civilization out there could create a perfect simulation, wouldn't they do it?
Right.
And if they did, statistically speaking, the odds of us being in the quote-unquote original reality are, they're pretty slim.
Yeah, precisely.
Right.
And the thing is, this idea of questioning the nature of reality, it's not even a new thing. If you think about it, think all the way back to, like, Plato's allegory of the cave, right? Where people were mistaking, like, shadows for reality.
Right.
Humans have always kind of had this inkling that there might be more to existence than what we are just seeing at face value.
Well, let's get into some of the quote-unquote evidence that simulation theorists use to support this wild idea.
Okay.
I am putting evidence in air quotes here because, it's more about just intriguing anomalies than, like, hard proof.
Sure.
But before we get too far into that, I have to ask you,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the Mandela Effect? Have you ever experienced it?
Of course. Who hasn't? It's that totally bizarre phenomenon where you have, like, huge groups of people misremembering the same very specific details. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Take the spelling of Berenstain Bears, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Countless people swear up and down that it was spelled Berenstein,
That's right.
even though it never was.
Right?
Or the Monopoly Man.
Yeah.
So many people are positive that he had a monocle.
A monocle, yeah.
Which he has never had.
Never sported. Yeah. It's so strange.
It's crazy.
And these aren't just random memories, It's like they're shared, vivid misrememberings.
Right.
Simulation theorists suggest that these could be the result of, like, patches.
Oh, interesting.
Or updates to the simulation, kind of like software updates, changing details in a video game.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I have to admit, it's a pretty wild thought.
It is a wild thought, but, we do have to acknowledge that memory is notoriously unreliable.
Oh.
There are, well-documented psychological reasons for why our brains might misremember things.
Sure.
But, still, the widespread nature of these, shared memories, like the Mandela Effect, it really makes you pause and think.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's another one that I think feels like a potential glitch in the Matrix.
Okay.
Déjà vu.
Right.
That eerie sensation of having already lived through a moment.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
We've all felt it.
Right.
But what if it's not just a brain quirk? What if it is actually a lag in the simulation? Like a momentary repeat in our programming.
Well, there's certainly a poetic symmetry to that idea.
Right.
And, neuroscience does offer some explanations for déjà vu.
Sure.
But the simulation theory kind of provides this alternative lens through which we can look at it. What I find really fascinating is how a single phenomenon can actually have multiple interpretations, right?
Yeah.
It just prompts us to question, what we actually perceive as real.
Well, and then we get to the realm of quantum physics, and this is where things get really, truly mind-bending.
Oh, yeah.
And the lines between observer and reality just completely start to blur.
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard of the double slit experiment?
Absolutely. It's one of the cornerstones of quantum mechanics.
Right. So to put it simply, this experiment showed that tiny, tiny particles, like electrons, they behave differently depending on whether they're being observed or not.
Right.
Imagine that. Like, reality at the smallest level appears to be influenced by us just looking at it.
It's almost as if, like, the universe, it knows when it's being watched.
Right.
And for simulation theorists, this just feeds into the idea that we might be living in a universe that is built on code.
Yeah.
Where the act of observation triggers a specific rendering of reality.
Okay, so if we were living in a simulation, it kind of begs the question, how granular is this simulated reality? Like, could there be a limit to how much detail it can render?
Well, that's where the concept of a pixel limit in space-time comes into play.
Oh, wow.
Some physicists speculate that space-time might not be infinitely divisible,
Okay.
but rather made up of, like, tiny, tiny indivisible units like the pixels on your screen.
Whoa, so reality is pixelated.
Well, not quite like that, but the idea that there is a fundamental limit to the resolution of reality is it's definitely a captivating thought.
It is. And there's one more piece of this whole puzzle that I just find absolutely wild.
Okay.
Theoretical physicist James Gates claims to have found error-correcting code,
What?
the kind that's used in, computer programming, embedded within the equations that describe the universe's fundamental forces.
No way.
Error-correcting code in the fabric of reality. That's either a wild coincidence
Yeah.
or a huge clue.
It's definitely one of the more provocative findings that lends support to the simulation hypothesis.
What?
If the universe is running on code, like some kind of grand program, I mean, wouldn't it need some way to correct errors and make sure everything's, running smoothly?
It would have to, right?
Yeah.
So this is all incredibly intriguing,
Yeah.
but it leads to an even bigger question.
Okay.
If this is a simulation, who built it and why?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah,
The possibilities are endless.
they are.
And each one, is more mind-boggling than the last.
Right.
It's crazy to think about.
It is.
Yeah.
So let's speculate a little bit.
Okay.
Are we talking about a super advanced alien civilization
Right.
using us as, I don't know, guinea pigs in some kind of cosmic experiment? Or
Mhm.
maybe it's our own descendants
Right.
from like way in the future trying to relive history or,
Yeah.
I don't know, understand their origins.
Some even propose that the programmer, so to speak, could be like, I don't know, a higher power, some sort of universal consciousness, maybe. Oh, wow.
Or even the embodiment of what we understand as God.
Right.
I mean, the simulation theory really does open up this Pandora's box
Yeah.
of potential creators.
Right.
It blurs the lines between science fiction and theological concepts.
It really does.
Yeah.
And here's a thought that really just kind of twists my brain into knots.
Okay.
What if we are the AI?
Oh, wow.
What if our consciousness is just a complex algorithm running within this simulated reality?
That brings us to that age-old debate of free will versus determinism.
Right.
I mean, if our actions are all predetermined by our programming,
Right.
do we truly have agency over our choices?
Right.
Or are we simply just playing out a pre-written script?
It's a question that, philosophers have been grappling with for centuries.
Absolutely.
And the simulation theory, I mean, it just adds a whole new dimension to that discussion, doesn't it?
It really does, yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, if we are just, lines of code.
Could we somehow become aware of our programming?
Yeah.
Could we rewrite our own code?
Interesting.
Break free from the confines of the simulation?
Well, now we are venturing into the realm of pure speculation.
Sure.
But it's a tantalizing thought.
It is.
Some proponents of the simulation theory believe that we might actually be able to escape by finding and exploiting glitches in the system.
Oh, okay.
Like, those reality-bending moments that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like objects disappearing or the sky looking a little bit too perfect.
Yeah.
Or even the Mandela Effect itself.
Right.
Could these be signs of the simulation breaking down? Cracks in the code that we could potentially slip through?
It's a possibility, however improbable.
Right.
Others suggest that the key to escaping the simulation lies in consciousness exploration
Oh, interesting.
through practices like meditation,
Right.
lucid dreaming,
Right.
or even, the use of psychedelics. We might be able to, access deeper levels of awareness and potentially even, I don't know, manipulate the code of reality itself.
Oh, whoa.
So we're talking about like hacking the simulation from the inside out.
Yeah, essential.
It sounds like something straight out of like The Matrix,
It really does, yeah.
Imagine tapping into the source code of the universe and rewriting your own programming.
Yeah.
The implications are both, I mean, exhilarating and terrifying.
They really are.
Yeah.
It's a mind-blowing concept, but it also kind of raises a whole bunch of ethical questions.
Oh, absolutely.
If we could escape,
Yeah.
Should we? What would happen to, the other quote unquote players in the simulation?
Right.
What about the programmer who created it all? Do we even have the right to tamper with their creation?
Those are definitely questions that we might have to face if we ever, reach a point where escaping the simulation becomes a real possibility.
Yeah.
But for now, they remain in the realm of, philosophical thought experiments.
Well, and here's the ultimate mind bender.
Okay.
Even if we're not in a simulation,
Right.
does it really change anything?
That's a good question.
Does it alter our pursuit of knowledge,
Yeah.
our quest for meaning, our experience of life as we know it?
That's the paradoxical beauty of the simulation theory, isn't it?
Yeah.
It forces us to confront the nature of reality
Yeah.
and our place within it,
Right.
regardless of its true nature.
Because even if this is, the real deal,
Yeah.
our world still operates according to patterns and rules.
Right.
We're bound by the laws of physics, constantly seeking answers, trying to make sense of this incredible, sometimes bewildering
Yeah.
journey we call life.
Exactly.
Whether we're, plugged into a supercomputer
Right.
or simply experiencing the universe as it is.
Yeah.
The human experience, it remains remarkably consistent. We're driven by curiosity, a thirst for understanding, a desire to connect with something larger than ourselves.
So maybe it doesn't ultimately matter if we're living in a simulation or not.
Right.
The search for meaning, the pursuit of knowledge, the wonder and awe that we feel when we contemplate the universe,
Yeah.
those things remain constant.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
So whether you're, a diehard simulation theorist
Yeah. Yes.
or a skeptical observer,
Yeah.
I think we can all agree that this deep dive has, opened up some really intriguing possibilities, sparked some thought-provoking questions,
It has.
and maybe even made us look at reality with a newfound sense of curiosity and wonder.
Absolutely. I mean, the simulation theory it's just this captivating blend of science, philosophy, and imagination.
Yeah.
It challenges us to think beyond our perceived limitations and consider that the universe might be far stranger
Yeah.
and more wondrous than we could ever imagine.
And that's the beauty of it all, isn't it? The mystery, the unknown.
It really is.
So keep those eyes peeled for glitches, my friends.
Absolutely.
You never know what you might find, and who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe one day we will have the technology to peek behind the curtain
Yeah.
and finally answer the question, are we living in a simulation?
Until then, embrace the unknown, question everything, and never stop exploring the possibilities.
I don't know about you, but it really makes you, look at the world a little differently, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, after going down this rabbit hole,
Oh, yeah.
have you started noticing, I don't know, little things
Right.
that just seem off? Like maybe those missing socks,
Yeah.
they just vanished into some digital void.
Right. Right.
Or that time your phone glitched out and showed the wrong date. Maybe that was a system error.
Yeah, I have to admit, I mean, it does make you more aware of the quirks and inconsistencies of, everyday life.
Yep.
And while most of those can probably be explained away with, perfectly normal, rational explanations,
Of course.
there is a part of me that can't help but,
Yeah.
entertain the possibility that
Totally.
maybe, just maybe, there's something more going on beneath the surface.
Right. Like what if that feeling of being watched
Yeah.
isn't just paranoia,
Yeah.
but the player checking in on their simulation?
Whoa.
Or maybe those moments of synchronicity.
Yeah.
Those weird coincidences that seem just too perfect to be random
Yeah.
are actually glimpses of the underlying code at work.
It's a fascinating thought experiment, to be sure.
It is.
Even if the simulation theory is never definitively proven or
Right.
disproven,
Yeah.
it still serves as a really powerful reminder
Yeah.
that our perception of reality is limited, and there may be layers of existence that we haven't even begun to grasp.
I love that.
Yeah.
Layers of existence.
Yeah,
It kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, doesn't it?
I think so.
Like if this is all just a simulation,
Right.
maybe we can relax a little bit.
Yeah.
Enjoy the ride and not take it all so serious.
Perhaps. Yeah.
But, even in a simulated reality, I think the choices we make, the connections we forge,
Right.
and the experiences that we have, they still hold meaning and value.
Absolutely.
Whether we are interacting with, lines of code or particles of matter,
Yeah,
the human experience, it remains profound
it does.
and worthy of exploration.
It really does.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Well, thank you.
So whether you're a diehard simulation theorist
Yeah,
or a skeptical observer,
right.
I think we could all agree that this deep dive has opened up some really intriguing possibilities,
It has.
sparked some thought-provoking questions,
It has.
and maybe even made us look at reality with a newfound sense of curiosity
Absolutely.
and wonder.
The simulation theory is just this captivating blend of science, philosophy, and imagination.
Yeah.
It challenges us to think beyond, our perceived limitations
Yeah.
and consider that the universe might be far stranger and more wondrous than we could ever imagine.
And that's the beauty of it all, isn't it?
It really is.
The mystery, the unknown.
Yeah.
Well, keep those eyes peeled for glitches, my friends.
Absolutely.
You never know what you might find.
That's right.
And who knows, maybe one day we will have the technology to peek behind the curtain
Sure.
and finally answer the question,
Yeah.
are we living in a simulation?
Until then, embrace the unknown, question everything, and never stop exploring the possibilities.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We'll be back next time with another mind-bending journey into the depths of knowledge and the mysteries of the universe.
Sounds great.
Until then, stay curious
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
keep questioning everything.